Today's video comes from the sunny Welsh slopes of the Llandegla forest. Known as a classic UK trail centre, there's plenty to do here if you're on two wheels. And in today's video, we're going to explore the Blue Trail. It's a fun route that goes a little something like this. The Blue Trail starts in the same way as all the others do in Llandegla, with a long climb up the hill. It's actually not as bad as I've been led to believe. For the most part, it's a pretty gradual climb on a windy track through some nice scenery, and in total the climb takes about half an hour. Although this is a long climb right out the gates, once you reach the top, that's pretty much all the climbing done for the trail, and all you've got left is downhill. So once you reach the top, you get a pretty spectacular view. But that's enough sightseeing, because from here you roll straight into the first section of descent called Roller Coaster. Here we go. Picking up speed for the first time on the trail, Roller Coaster is a flowing section with a few berms and a number of rollers. To make the most out of it, you do have to put in a few pedal strokes though. But this is exactly the kind of thing I'd expect to see on a blue graded trail. A decent amount of speed and some interesting rollable features. Because this is a blue trail, everything on here is rollable. You aren't going to find any huge drops or massive jumps that will catch you out. If you want to make the trail more exciting, you can ride faster and make the most of the features. At the end of this section, the red trail splits off to the left, so I'm going to keep right onto True Blue. True Blue happens to be one of my favourite sections on the whole trail. It's a fast piece of single track that runs its way through this corridor of trees. Because you can't see what's coming around the corners, if you want to take it fast like I did, then you have to commit. Luckily for me, they hadn't put a huge awkward drop or any weird turns anywhere to catch me out. So all the corners are fast and gradual on this trail. There are also a couple of nice rollers that you can turn into fun jumps if you know where to look. As you can probably tell, today is a scorcher. It's almost 30 degrees, so after that huge climb, I'm really glad to be riding downhill. But what an awesome day to be riding.
The views are amazing. I just can't take my eyes off the trail.
So although there are no difficult features on the trail, just to the edge of it are lots of tree stumps and spiky trees. So I do recommend that you keep yourself on the trail. For the pace and the features that this trail has, I would say that it's perfectly graded as a blue trail. By that I mean that there are enough rollers and turns to keep experienced riders entertained, but for more novice mountain bikers, you don't have to ride anything too committing. Like I said, it's perfect for the grade. So if you're looking for something fun to warm up on before heading to something more serious, the Blue is a good shout. Or if you're just looking to have a chilled out ride and take in some scenery, this is a good trail option. Heading out of the forest, you have another option for a pretty cool view. At this point you're about 15 minutes into your descent, which is about halfway back to the trail centre. This is a great point to assess how you're feeling. If you're enjoying the Blue, then you can keep on going. But if you're ready for something a bit harder, there is another option. At this point in the trail, you have the option to leave the Blue Trail and join onto the red at the halfway point. This joining section is called From Dusk Till Dawn and cuts a pretty interesting line down a steep hill. I'll show you this trail quickly before we carry on down the Blue.
Okay, let's do it.
As you'll notice, there's a big step up in terms of technical difficulty between the red and the blue trails. Riding this for the first time is definitely a committing section. But once you know where you're going, you'll be able to build up some serious speed and get some decent airtime too. It is important to note that if you ride this section, you can't really get back onto the Blue, so only ride this if you're committing to riding the rest of the red trail. Continuing along the Blue Trail, you head into the lower woods. On this wide track, you can really pick up some speed. Now, I bet this section has some seriously fast Strava times. In fact, along some parts of the trail, they actually have the name of the Strava section written on them. So if you're that way inclined, you can give it some welly and see how you compare to other riders. So in total, this whole trail is around 12 kilometers long. In terms of fitness, you need a decent amount for the trail, but this will mostly come into play on the initial climb. But from there, it's a pretty gentle downhill the rest of the way. Today I'm riding my full suspension bike, but you certainly don't need one to ride this trail. It's going to be really enjoyable no matter what you're riding. As you get close to the trail centre, you pass the pump track. Seeing as it was right there, I thought it would be rude not to have a little go around. But after already riding for an hour in the heat, I didn't mess around for too long on here. After the pump track, you're on your last downhill section before the end of the trail, and you finish with style on this fast, flowy section. From reading all the reviews of this trail before I came, they all say that it's a great moderate difficulty trail with a few bumps and features. It's generally described as being a fun flow trail, and to be honest, I think this sums it up perfectly. It's around this point that all the trails converge and you head back to the trail centre. The good news is that you end the trail on pretty much the same point in the car park that you started. Perfect. It's probably good to mention that there's a fully stocked bike shop, cafe, and there are toilets here, and parking was pretty good today too. Riding solo, it was £5 all day, which is much better than the typical £8 that you tend to see. But it's also £2 per additional passenger, so it could get expensive depending on how many people you bring. So I hope you enjoyed this adventure in Llandegla. It's a great trail centre and a brilliant blue trail, well worth spending an hour in the Welsh Hills. So remember to subscribe to the channel to see more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.